People who have said no to the barber when they asked if their haircut looked good. What's your story? When I was a young teen, 15 or 16, I had hair down to my belly button. I wanted it cut to my collarbone because my hair is thick and hard to take care of. My normal hairdresser was delayed into our appointment due to one of the dyeing hair things breaking and the other being taken, so I was paired with a different one. This girl couldn't do an even cut. She kept trying. So she kept cutting so one side would be 3+ inches longer than the other. I watched in the mirror in horror, speechless. She eventually sees my face and goes to get my normal hairdresser. My normal hairdresser just gives me a sad look and says she has to even me out and that she was sorry. She had to cut it to my ears. She didn't ask if I like it. She just said I didn't have to pay. My eyes were watering by that point. It was horrible. Never went back. I had a really uneven trim with a couple of bald patches in it once, so I just asked the barber to shave my head completely and I'd start over from zero. He tried to charge me for both haircuts, but I refused to double dip. Lol, I fucked up so bad I'm just going to buzz your whole head, but I want you to pay double for the privilege. My hairdresser and I had a pretty good relationship, and I had short hair that I wasn't emotional about, so she asked if she could just go wild and surprise me. When I saw the result, I'd ended up with a weird uneven pixie cut. I told her that it was very cool, but would be too difficult to maintain every day, so could she please cut it down to a regular hairstyle. She redid the cut uncomplainingly, and I walked out happy. I wanted a buzz cut. She was not willing to cut off that much hair, assuming I'd be upset and get angry. 7 times she trimmed off a millimeter and asked me if it was okay. I went out, bought myself a pair of clippers, had a buzzed head in about 12 minutes, and have not been back to a barber since. How about now? No. 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 How about now? I must leave. Edit. This is my 3rd comment in here that got some bling. I'm going to print this entire thread out to decorate my cubicle. I asked for a skin fade that tapers into what I have on top. She went down to skin all the way up. Told her this isn't what I asked for. She got snarky and said I needed to be clearer next time. I paid the bill after she shortened the top to better match the now bald sides of my head. I may not know all the names for barber equipment, but I've been getting this haircut for years and literally everyone but her was able to produce what I requested. I get my hair cut one day at a school. I get a pretty basic haircut. 1.5 inches on top, shorter on the sides, off the ears. There is a reason I get it cut at 1.5 inches on top, much longer than that it does a weird Bozo the Clown thing, much shorter than that it just stands straight up. He cut it 1 inch all over my head. I looked like a chia pet. She shaved my sideburns up to about 1.5 inches above my ear. I didn't say anything, just sat there looking pissed. She goes, "It'll look good if you put some gel in it." I went up front to pay, thought about not paying, paid anyway. 4 people got up and left behind me who were waiting. Never again mastercuts. Never. Again. Edit. I had to wear a beanie for a month during a hot summer in Ga until they grew back. A baseball cap wouldn't cut it. My boss was against me wearing a beanie at work initially until I took it off. When I was a kid, my mom would always take me to the same place to get my hair cut, and I would always end up crying because that lady clearly had no idea what she was doing. I didn't even hold it in until I left the place. I would just tell her that I hated the look and start crying. My mom kept taking me there thinking I was just a stupid kid that would never be happy with their haircut. She was wrong. Now that I've changed several hairdressers, I've been going to the same one for a few years and I really adore her. The day you finally find a barber, hairdresser who cuts your hair exactly as you want, that is a good day indeed. 16 years old and just about to get my DL. Go to the salon to get my haircut nice for the picture. Instead of feathering my hair, I know I'm dating myself here, the stylist gives me a spiky buzz cut on top. I was so upset I just sat in her chair and cried. Way too short to fix. It was truly awful. Stylist gets offended and starts giving all these excuses. I just paid and left hiding my hair the best I could. For the next couple months I wore a lot of hats. Edit, sorry for the confusion, DL equals driver's license. I didn't say anything cause all my hair was gone, asked for a 5 all over, she thought I said 0. Yeah, 5 and 0 are close, I can see the confusion. Got stabbed in the scalp with the scissors. It got stuck there and I had to go to hospital to have it surgically removed. Didn't hit anything, thank the gods. I just image you looking in the mirror with bloody scissors sticking out of your head and calmly saying, no. No, this isn't good. I'm someone who hates bangs, they don't look nice on me and they annoyingly tickle my forehead. Every time I meet my barber she keeps insisting on giving me bangs and I always say no, and it clearly pisses her off until one time she accidentally cut a chunk of my front hair and would have to give me bangs to make it look good now. I knew she did it in purpose cause she was playing with my front hair for a bit before suddenly making the cut. That was the last time I went to her. Thankfully my current barber agrees with me that bangs aren't my style. Edit, holy shit, this blew up. If people must know, I didn't tip her and didn't have to pay the extra time it took to cut the bangs, but it did take me a whole year to finally grow it out and get the style I wanted. That honestly makes my blood boil. Did you walk out or stay and pay her? Had a barber offer a hot towel shave at the end of my haircut because he was trying to kill a few extra minutes before he clocked out without having to take another waiting customer. Barber used a Mach 3 razor and absolutely butchered my face. Halfway through the shave people just kept staring at me with blood running down my face while the barber was packing some cornstarch bullshit in the scrapes, cuts. He said, "Wow, you have really sensitive skin," and I replied, "Most skin is sensitive when you fucking remove it with a razor." I just pulled the towel off and walked out of the shop, bloody, half-shaved and fully pissed off. My brother thought I got jumped on my way, there was so much blood on my shirt neck. Best part is, I only got the haircut for professional headshots being taken the next day. Yeah, that didn't happen. Shitty part is, guy was my go-to barber for a few years. Haven't been back since. Edit, a word. Edit 2, obligatory thanks for the silver stranger, my first one. Sniffle. This only happened to me once. I'm not sure how she did so badly on my hair. It was all weird and uneven and she missed parts, which is hard to do when you're just getting a classic crew cut. She was super young though, so maybe it was a lack of experience. I politely told her no, this wasn't going to work, but it was going to be okay. I got up, paid and left her a tip, she did her best. Then I drove down the street to another hair place and had someone there fix it. Hopefully she either got better at her job or chose a different career path. I now no longer go to Great Clips or any of those types of quick haircut shops. I go to the same stylist over and over, which is fun because it's like we're having these long conversations with month-long gaps between them. Plus she gives me a beer each time I sit down to get a trim. It wasn't a haircut but a blowout. A simple blowout. I was on an anniversary vacation and I wanted to treat myself to a blowout. It was $25. We were staying in a nice inn and I called the recommended salon and booked an appointment. This is a very small town in a place far, far away. The brand new girl was doing it and she had no idea how to do a blowout. I have had them before and she was clueless. I debated what to say, and when she turned me around she asked me if I liked it and said, no. She called the manager over, might have been owner, and the owner started to argue with me that stylists have their own style to do blowouts. The manager redid my blowout in 1/3 of the time and she did it right. The new girl checked me out and I told her that it was the manager's duty to train her and the manager was at fault. I asked her not to feel bad but to demand to be trained so that she could become as great as she wanted to be. I paid the bill of $25 and tipped the new girl $15. That poor new girl was not equipped and was not being supported. I hope she continued and asked for her training. As a cosmetologist, I really appreciate how you handled this. My first salon out of beauty school didn't do advanced training, big mistake. I honestly ruined a lot of haircuts. They only teach you the basics and theory of cutting, it takes a long time to learn it all. Especially since everyone's hair is different. I hope that girl got the training she deserved. And good on you for speaking up for yourself. Not me, but my dad. Went to get our hair cut before a soccer game back when I was about 12. Got mine first, was fine. Sat down while dad got his hair cut. Cue the barber doing the usual, holding the mirror asking if everything looks good. My dad sits still for a minute quietly and says sternly, "That's the worst fucking haircut I've ever had in my fucking life." Everyone just sat there for what seemed like 10 minutes before we just got up and walked out. Nothing else was said. I was beyond fucking embarrassed, and the haircut seemed like the same fucking haircut my dad had gotten since 1980, no better or worse. Still not sure if he just did it to avoid paying, which would be very likely, but he maintains to this day it was a fucking terrible haircut. I go to a place near my work. It's the standard barber shop staffed by Vietnamese people. I've been going there for years and they are very nice. There is one guy who works there and he is great. I always use him, even if I have to wait. One day I was in a hurry, had no time to wait, so I elected to have one of the girls cut my hair. Well, she didn't do it right and it looked awful. I told her, "It's not working." So I had her get the clippers out and told her to shave my entire head at once so I could reset my hair. I chose a new style that, as it turns out, I didn't like how it looked on me upon completion. No fault of his, I just didn't like what I chose. Didn't really fit me like I thought it would. I had him shave it bald and had him try something else several months later. Much better. I'll still have him experiment from time to time, even be his guinea pig for something he wants to try. It was a $5 Vietnamese joint, so expectations were to be tempered, but it was always good enough for me, especially since I'm a dude and I don't need to worry that much about my hair. One time this lady gives me the Jim Carrey cut in Dumb and Dumber and I was like, yeah, no, how about you just break it up a little in the front? Not so straight? She was a good sport about it. Yeah, if you're paying less than $10 for a haircut, you're just asking to be fucked up once in a while. I used to do $5 haircuts before parties with dog hair clippers I bought for $10 at Walgreens. I think I did a good enough job, except I lived in a frat so I was usually drunk when I did them. I once was in the seat next to a guy who said, "Yeah, it's fine, thank you." When he stood up and turned around I could clearly see his anger in the reflection of the mirror. When I was a kid, my dad and I would go to the local barber. However, once I became a pre-teen, when you become self-conscious about your hair, my dad and I both noticed our haircuts were getting shittier and shittier. The next time we went I watched the barber focused on what the barber was doing while cutting hair to see if I could identify what he was doing wrong. It turns out he had become so complacent that he would fixate on the Cubs game on the TV hanging from the ceiling while cutting hair, not even looking at the person's head. I told him it sucked and never went back. I'm a guy and have long hair. I usually go to a female hairdresser at a salon, but I had recently moved to a new place and found this highly rated barber shop that did cuts and shaves, and I decided to give it a chance. I called ahead and asked if anyone there was comfortable cutting long hair, and if so, to make me an appointment with them. I went in with my hair about halfway down my back and said I wanted it just above my shoulders. The big thing was it had to be long enough to be pulled back and out of my face. It was necessary for my work. This guy nods and proceeds to start cutting just below my ears. My hair is curly and so curled up even higher as soon as he let go. He got about halfway around my head cutting a straight line before my expression made him go get someone else. The only female at the shop came over and audibly gasped. She tried to fix it, but it was terrible. Had to wear a bandana or hat at work for the next 3 months while it grew back out. The manager asked and I told him I was very disappointed and that they should have just admitted they don't do that kind of cut up front. Oh, and they gave me a $5 discount and told me to please come again _. I wanted my hair cut very short. I keep it short now, clipped number 1 on the sides and number 2 on top. Back when this happened I think I asked for a number 3 clipper on the sides and finger thickness on top, blended to the sides. She picked up the clippers and popped in a number 1 blade and went right over the top of my head like a reverse mohawk and then said, "Oops, you wanted a 1 on top, right?" I had to get it number 1 all over. This was the day before my friend's wedding that I was going to. I looked like a goon. My hair is pretty short so there's not much to mess up. I get it cut often cause my hair grows thick and I have to maintain it for the military, so I tend to go wherever I can get in quick and cheap. I like it really short on the sides, like if LaCroix cut hair, that level of hair to scalp ratio. Just a hint. But the last time, I was out of state and stopped by a rinky-dink little barber shop. After I got it cut, the lady flipped me around to look in the mirror. I was facing away, and it looked like almost none was cut off. So I asked her to cut more, and she reluctantly agreed. Once again it was way too long. So finally I just told her, just cut it all off, because now I was not only fed up with my thick hair, but my haircut experience. Finished up and left. I still left with it longer than I normally like it. When I was about 6, we had a mobile hairdresser who came to our house. I was a real tomboy, so Mum asked them to cut my hair fairly short. When I saw in the mirror, I ran outside, climbed a tree and refused to come down for a couple of hours. I think my views were clearly transmitted. If it's a barber I don't know, I always tell them I want it a little longer in the back just to see their reaction. Can speak for my mom here, her old hairdresser literally had a mental breakdown while cutting her hair. He just kept cutting and cutting, until my mom started to feel like he was cutting for too long. At the end she had hacks of hair left in random parts of her head. Had to use clips and extensions for years after to make it look normal. The same dresser cut a piece of my brother's ear off too. He's a nice guy, just clearly shouldn't be a hairdresser. The same dresser cut a piece of my brother's ear off too. I am somewhat puzzled. Your mother took someone back to see this person? For the first 18 years of my life I had my hair done by the same stylist. As soon as I was able to make decisions for myself I would tell her what I wanted done. And every time, without fail, she would ignore my wishes and give me the haircut that she wanted me to have, all the while telling me how she knows better and how I should just be grateful. And to make matters worse, she would insist on cutting my hair in the bathroom, and sometimes her daughter would come in and pee while I was getting my hair done. I never tipped her once. I guess that's the price you pay when your mom is a hairdresser. I'm usually not picky when it comes to haircuts, it's hair after all, it will grow back. I was getting a typical fade about 5 or 6 months ago, and this woman, for some reason, faded each side of my head in different spots. So much so that the only way to fix it was to jump down to a number 4 and buzz the top of my head to try and salvage the blending. I literally had to stop her and ask what she was doing, and she was like, "What? Nothing is wrong." So I put my fingers, pointed towards my head, on each fade line, and you could clearly see they were off by almost an inch, and I was like, "Dude, look at this." Her response was, "I am not a dude." I just kind of looked at her weird and said, yeah, I know that I just used dude as an expression." So she proceeds to buzz my head, and at the end she was like, "I'm not going to make you pay for this," and I said, "Yeah, I wasn't planning on it. I still go back to the same supercuts, but if she's working I will avoid her. That's why you don't go to fucking supercuts, lol." I didn't realize just how bad the cut was until I went home and washed my hair. I called up, got set up with a more experienced stylist, and got a decent, albeit very short, haircut. Afterwards she gave me coupons, not a refund, even a partial, but coupons for another cut. I told her I wouldn't be coming back and to not bother. Never did go back. Never complained about a haircut, but once when I was halfway through and the woman who was just before me that had the same lady came back and started complaining about how my current hairlady did a terrible job and she wanted her money back. My hairlady and complaining lady get into a heated argument about how complaining lady was talking on her phone the whole time, and this caused the bad cut. Thought they were about to take it outside. Really a terrible situation to be in, half-cut hair, an emotionally charged haircut lady, and not the best feeling about haircut lady. Quite awkward. Thank you Supercuts. After hearing the customer in the barber's chair next to mine complain bitterly to his barber about the haircut he had just received, I made sure to compliment my barber. It was a genuine compliment, too, because he did a great job. The guy next to me was just trying to embarrass his barber in front of others, much like a mean-spirited customer in a restaurant that takes obvious pleasure in berating the waiter. This is the best fucking haircut of my life. I have boner. When I was 16, I went to the hairdressers with a picture of how I wanted it to look. There was a poster of a girl in the window with a cute hairstyle, but not really my thing, but the hairdressers convinced me it would be perfect with my face shape, be brave and try something new, all that BS. I was awkward and reluctantly agreed. It turned out awful. I don't know if the hairdresser was a trainee, or if I just didn't have the right face style after all, but goddamn it was the worst hairstyle I've had since I cut my own hair at age 5. I cried. They didn't offer a discount or anything, just told me, "It looks great, you'll get used to it," the usual. I never went back, and I've cut my own hair ever since, always looking significantly better than that abysmal job. Thanks for watching our video. If you like it, please smash the subscribe and like button to support the channel, so that we can create more quality content in the future.